nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Roll call.
Councilmember Cooper.
Here.
Councilmember Beaton.
Here.
Mayor Zielinski.
Here.
Councilmember Sipsick. Councilmember Szymanski.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Grabowski.
Here.
Councilmember Pontiac. Here. City Manager.
Here.
City Attorney.
Here.
Finance Director. Here. Planning and Zoning Director. Public Safety Director. City Engineer.
Thank you. Public hearings, we have none. Citizens' comments on agenda-related items. Do we have any citizens who'd like to comment on agenda-related items tonight? Seeing none, we'll move along to the consent agenda. All items marked with an asterisk are on the consent agenda and considered by the city manager to be routine matters. Prior to approval of the consent agenda, any member of council may have an item from the consent agenda removed and taken up during the regular portion of the meeting. Consent agenda items include approval of minutes, cash balance, revenue and expenses, consideration of ordinance 19-24, adding chapter 1064, charges for fire runs and emergency services, and notifications regarding next work session. At this time, council can take action to approve the consent agenda as presented. Do I have a motion?
Motion approved. Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, please take the roll.
Councilmember Pontiac. Yes. Councilmember Beaton.
Yes.
Councilmember Sipsick.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Grabowski.
Yes.
Councilmember Cooper.
Yes.
Mayor Zielinski.
Yes.
Councilmember Szymanski.
Yes.
Motion approved.
Unfinished business, we have none. New business. Consideration of scheduling a public hearing for a new Downtown Development Authority development plan. The current DDA development plan and TIF sunset on March 1st, 2020. The Downtown Development Authority approved a new development plan for council consideration. In order for the city council to consider adopting a new Downtown Development Authority plan, a public hearing is required. At this time, council could take action to schedule a public hearing for February 4th, 2020. Do I have a motion?
I'll make them. I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion?
Yes. I have a couple of questions. Where do we stand with the service agreement for service between the DPW and the DDA?
Both of those documents will be presented to the DDA board tomorrow for their consideration. What I've been told is that the individual representing the DDA has come to agreement with the city staff as well as the Chamber of Commerce. So they're considered approved, in concept, waiting for subject to final approval by the DDA board.
Okay. And then, once we schedule the public hearing, then do we take a vote on their DIF plan sometime in February?
That you would have to, if you approve it on the 4th, that's when you have to approve it. And if you, so we can make sure we have 2 readings of the ordinance, and then it would be in effect before the expiration of the current DDA plan.
Okay, so the approval will really be on February 4th.
Exactly.
Okay, thank you.
Any other? Seeing none, please take the roll.
Mayor Pro Tem Grabowski.
Yes.
Councilmember Cooper.
Yes.
Mayor Zielinski.
Yes.
Councilmember Szymanski.
Yes.
Councilmember Pontiac. Yes. Councilmember Beaton.
Yes.
Councilmember Sipsick.
Yes.
Motion approved.
Thank you. Consideration of ordinance 20-1, amending chapter 866 and 867. The City of Manistee Medical Marijuana Facility Ordinance and Recreational Marijuana Ordinance authorizes up to 12 growers' facilities, medical marijuana, and 12 grower establishments, recreational marijuana. Recent discussion has led the city staff to believe that there may be more demand for permits and licenses than are available. Grower operations all take place within closed, locked facilities and can only take place in certain areas of the city. It is city staff opinion that the number of permits and licenses should be unlimited, as the area where growing operations can take place under the zoning ordinance will limit the number of permits and licenses that may be requested. Additionally, under the recreational marijuana law, the state may license designated consumption facilities if authorized within a particular community. The state is unwilling to indicate whether it would issue such a license in the city of Manistee based upon the current ordinance. Consequently, city staff recommends that Chapter 867 be amended to specifically prohibit designated consumption facilities or any recreational marijuana facility not specifically authorized within the city. Amended 20-1 would make unlimited the number of available grow facilities. Permits under Chapter 866 and grower establishment license under Chapter 867, and would also specifically prohibit any recreational marijuana establishments not specifically authorized under the Chapter 867, including a designated consumption facility. Mr. Saylor, would you kind of go over that for us a little bit?
Sure. Beyond the unlimited part of the proposed change, in July or August of last year, through the emergency rules, not through the statute, through the emergency rules, the state decided it would license what are called designated consumption facilities. This would be a structure that would invite presumably members that join it that then could consume marijuana within that facility. It wouldn't sell marijuana, wouldn't sell anything else. It would just be a facility that would, where people could go and consume marijuana. That was new, something that we were not aware of when our ordinance was enacted. Our ordinance does not make any provision for designated consumption facilities. But in my communication with the state, I asked whether or not, based upon our ordinance, they would allow a license to be issued to an entity that wanted to open a designated consumption facility in Manistee, and they told me they couldn't tell me one way or the other whether our ordinance would address that. And so with city staff's discussion on this was that, at least the impression was that designated consumption facilities would not be favored here in the city of Manistee. And so in order to ensure that the state would not issue a license to such a facility, the ordinance is being proposed to be amended to specifically exclude that. And in addition, just in case some other type of licensed establishment were allowed by the state, the ordinance would also include language that said any other type of facility which we have not specifically authorized is then excluded under the ordinance.
So by voting, if I would to vote yes on this ordinance,
If you were to vote yes on the amendment, we would increase the number of grows to unlimited. We would prohibit designated consumption facilities and any other marijuana facility other than those that are specifically described.
okay. I'm going to just continue on, then we'll get into the discussion part, okay? As an ordinance, 2 separate readings are required. If this ordinance is introduced at this time, it could be adopted at the next regular meeting. At this time, council could take action to introduce ordinance 20-1, amending Chapter 866 and 867. Do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
I have a motion. Do I have a second? I have a second. A first, a motion and a second. Is there any discussion?
Is us, by prohibiting the consumption facilities, will that impact the rules that they established about the profit sharing in retail and grow facilities?
No, we've authorized those, so we'd share in the tax revenue from that.
Okay, so this doesn't, because at one time, if you prohibited one, you didn't share in any.
Correct.
But this is not included in that?
Correct.
Great, okay, thank you very much.
Any other discussion?
So if you don't agree, because there's two separate things, I feel like.
No.
I agree with one thing, but I don't agree with the other. Like, is there a way to split that?
Well, the motion right now is on approval of the proposed amendment, which has both things, the unlimited and the prohibition against designated consumption facilities. So if you don't agree with that in total, then I think would be a no vote. We can always revisit then this if that were council's wish.
Well, as far as unlimited facilities, our ordinance is pretty well covered where a grow facility could be. For me, a grow facility is jobs. My research, calling Everett and calling Kalkaska, $20 an hour after 90 days of employment with a spotless background check is not all bad. And I think that's, I think a vote against this would be a vote against jobs, in my opinion.
Another question. From what I understand, when we're talking about unlimited license, it may be only one facility, but multiple licenses within one facility is what we're basically saying is what's happening because of how the law was written. Am I correct in that assumption?
Well, it could, we have limited parcels
Right.
in the 3 districts that we allow grow. So it's going to be limited by the grow, you know, the available parcels that somebody wants to put up a grow operation. So that's going to be the limiting factor. There certainly can be multiple licenses at one location.
And I think that's what's driving this.
Right. There's, again, we've had discussions with one individual that wants to do a grow operation. He's told us he wants them all. And there's other people that we know are interested in putting up grow facilities, and they will need grow licenses. So we, you know, and based on our discussions with interested parties, we didn't think that 12 was going to be enough. 12 of both would be enough.
Any other discussion?
I'm comfortable with the language that's been proposed, and, you know, if it comes, say, a year or so, or 2 years down the road, if it looks like it's an opportunity for the city to have a consumption facility, this is something that can always be revisited, right?
Sure.
I mean, we could always change the ordinance. I
And it's-
think it's probably best, in my opinion, it's best to tread more conservatively on that
And
issue.
it would be this similar situation with that language that says unless specified in our ordinance, they're not permitted. You know, there may be some licenses that a business would like to, you know, get from the city, and they could at least ask council to consider amending the ordinance to allow for those. So there is flexibility built into the system.
Okay.
Anybody else? Seeing none, please take the roll.
Councilmember Szymanski.
Yes.
Councilmember Pontiac.
No.
Councilmember Beaton.
Yes.
Councilmember Sipsick.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Grabowski.
No.
Councilmember Cooper.
No.
Mayor Zelinski.
Yes,
Motion approved.
thank you. Consideration of zoning ordinance amendment Z19-25, assembly, operation in key street segments. Amending the City of Manistee zoning ordinance to allow an assembly operation as permitted special use in the R2 medium-density residential district. Amend Article 3, Table of Land Use, Table 3-2, Use Permit by Right and Special Land Use Permit. Amend Article 9, R-2, Medium-Density Residential Special Use, requires key street frontage table. As an ordinance, 2 separate readings are required. If this ordinance is introduced at this time, it could be adopted at the next regular meeting. At this time, council could take action to introduce zoning ordinance Z19-25, amending Article 3 and Article 9. Is there a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion?
Mayor, I just wanted to clarify on the ordinance number Z19-25, just so you're aware, the reason it has that number, it was given that number last year, and it's just now being brought to council now, but that's why it doesn't have a 2020 number.
Okay, thank you
Okay.
for that.
What circumstances would this be applied to? I mean, it's obvious, we don't just change ordinances without a reason behind it. There's gotta be a reason why we're changing this.
Kyle, would you I'm going to defer to Kyle's story.
I'd just like to hear the explanation for the record.
Can you please repeat the question?
Sure, I'm just wondering what has transpired that has prompted the city to go ahead and make this change or recommend this change in our zoning? I think I would just like that for the record.
Oh, absolutely. There's been a zoning amendment request for a boat company to come into the city to employ a certain amount of people. The applicants are here to discuss their business model if you're interested, though. There is an application for a zoning amendment request in the R2 Key Street section of the city.
Okay, now I know what you're talking about, the boat company, all right. All right.
Anyone else? Please take the roll.
Councilmember Sipsick. Mayor Pro Tem Grabowski.
Yes.
Councilmember Cooper.
Yes.
Mayor Zelinski.
Yes.
Councilmember Szymanski.
Yes.
Councilmember Pontiac.
Yes.
Councilmember Beaton.
Yes,
Motion approved.
Thank you. Consideration of approving a contract for the Phase 1 Contract A wastewater collection system rehabilitation. The city has publicly bid out Phase 1 Contract A wastewater collection system rehabilitation. 5 bids were received as follows. Inland Water Pollution Control Incorporated, $2,316,944. Visu Sewer Incorporated, $2,756,194.95. SKA, $2,841,417. Insue Form, $2,877,568.20. Granite Inliner, $3,526,575. The engineer's estimate is $2,340,000. The Public Works Department and city engineer are recommending a contract award to the low bidder. The contract documents were prepared by Spicer Group and approved by the city attorney. At this time, council could take action to award a construction contract to the low bidder, Inland Water Pollution Control Incorporated, in the amount of $2,316,944, and authorize the mayor and city clerk to execute the documents. Do I have a motion?
Motion. Well, I think you have to correct that. You said 2,944.
994, sorry.
Motion.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Just one question. There's two contracts, and they look very similar in how they're presented. Could you explain what specifically this contractor is going to do as far as the rehabilitation, and then what the second contract is going to do?
Sure. Phase 1 Contract A is specific to lining of the pipes, so that's gonna be, we're going inside and lining all the pipes. There's about 15,000 feet of them. Yeah, 5.5 miles of pipe we're gonna be lining as part of that contract, and that's primarily the work on that. And we'll also be lining the manholes that these pipes go in and out of, and that's all to reduce inflow and infiltration. So that's A. And then B is a project where rural development is funding the installation of storm sewers with the intent of helping to lower the water table to take the pressure off the sanitary sewer, to get the pressure off water going into sanitary pipes. The added benefit of that is we're working below roads and we'll be replacing roads and water mains. So it's basically a storm sewer road and water main project.
Thank you.
Is this the money that we already approved, or was it just that, to apply for the money?
We have previously, it's probably been before council in a couple different ways, over the last year or two, we've approved it. We approved a $4.4 million loan application for this phase 1. Because it's not, the second part came in a little higher, we'll be coming back in 2 weeks, to potentially increase that to $4.7 million, but it has previously been approved.
Any other questions? Seeing none, please take the roll.
Mayor Zelinski.
Yes.
Councilmember Szymanski.
Yes.
Councilmember Pontiac.
Yes.
Councilmember Beaton.
Yes.
Councilmember Sipsick. Mayor Pro Tem Grabowski.
Yes.
Councilmember Cooper.
Yes.
Motion approved.
Thank you. Consideration of improving a contract for the Phase 1 Contract B Water Waste Collection System Rehabilitation. The city has publicly bid out Phase 1 Contract B Storm and Sanitary Sewer Improvements. 3 bids were received as follows. Gerber Construction, $1,770,267. Holack Construction, $1,798,897.80. Elmer's, $1,999,500. The engineer estimate is $1,440,000, but did not cover several project items such as water main replacements. The Public Works Department and city engineer are recommending a contract award to the low bidder. The contract documents were prepared by Spicer Group and approved by the city attorney. At this time, council can take action to award a construction contract to the low bidder, Gerber Construction, in the amount of $1,770,267, and authorize the mayor and city clerk to execute the documents. Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion on this item? Seeing none, please take the roll.
Councilmember Beaton.
Yes.
Councilmember Sipsick.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Grabowski.
Yes.
Councilmember Cooper.
Yes.
Mayor Zelinski.
Yes.
Councilmember Szymanski.
Yes.
Councilmember Pontiac.
Yes.
Motion approved.
Thank you. Concerns and comments. Citizens' comments. This is an opportunity for citizens to comment on municipal service activities and areas of city involvement. Citizens in attendance shall be recognized by the mayor for comments limited to 5 minutes. Letters submitted to council will not be publicly read. Is there anyone that would like to make comments tonight? Yes.
Dr. Busby on Fourth Street. The city's short of money or short on salt. Sunday, we had better ice on the roads, especially the side roads in town, than you got at Sands Park. I slipped out in the middle of the road and I didn't stop sliding till I was about 10 foot away from the car. And I heard of 2 other people that fell down, one in the road and one on the sidewalk. If you need salt, I got 5 bags of water softener pellets and a couple pounds of salt I can give you if you're that short of salt. I'd like to know, why wasn't the trucks out there? Why did the city police call and tell them how bad those streets were? One car come down there, they started to brake about 25 yards from the highway on Fourth Street. They slid right into the second lane, right in the middle of the lane. Could have been a good broadside because the car come through about a minute after he took off. What? We gotta start salting them streets. Somebody's gonna get killed out there. It was bad Sunday and it was Monday morning that I took that slider down the road.
Thank you. Anyone else? Seeing no one, go to officials and staff. Mr. Taylor, do you have anything additionally?
Nothing at this time.
Mr. Saylor?
Nothing, Your Honor, thank you.
City clerk?
Nothing, Your Honor.
Mr. Bradford?
Nothing, Your Honor, thank you.
City engineer?
Nothing, Your Honor, thank you.
Is zoning still here, or did they leave?
He left.
I guess we're up to public safety.
Nothing, Your Honor.
Really? Well,
Leave it.
holy cow. Council members, how about Ms. Pontiac?
Nothing.
Mr. Kowalski?
Hope everybody enjoys the new year.
Mr. Szymanski?
Just a reminder that the 2020 census will be coming out in March. Especially remind those who spend 6 months and a day here in Manistee and then find a warmer climate for a few months, that it's very important for them to put their census in as a Manistee resident. This is very, very important for us to be able to to count every person here. There's no reason not to, for everyone to count, but again, it is very important financially for the city, for its growth, for everyone to do their best to have a good census this year. Okay?
Nothing, Your Honor.
Ms. Beaton?
I did take several phone calls on Sunday due to the condition of the streets, including not a phone call, but a comment from my husband who slid down that little hill on Hughes Street to Washington Street. Slid in a nice straight line, but still slid. So it seems pretty dicey out there. So I'm not sure what the protocol is, but there was enough ice on the roads to cause some concern. So other than that, I've been really happy with the DPW. I just don't know how that system works with the police calling the DPW on that thing.
Yeah, that's correct. That's the way it is handled. The police will call when they think the conditions warrant either plowing or salting. And they did call them out Saturday to salt. They were out salting, and that was the only call out they got. And after that, the police did not think the conditions warranted it for whatever reason.
Welcome to winter.
Yeah.
Ms. Sipska? You have nothing? I have nothing? Motion to adjourn. Oh, oh, card. Absolutely. Happy birthday. Merry Christmas.
I'll take care of this one. Okay, Kirsten Goodspeed, Jason Elliott, Raul Vasquez, David Shans. We have Angie Robb. Rob, another one, must be a birthday, Sean Taylor, Jason Robdick, how do you pronounce that?
I can take Sean's and put him on. Or, oh, John, I think that's White, yeah.
John. Evan Slavinsky, Thad Taylor,
Geez, I got another one? I'm getting old.
James Riley, Jeremy Randall.
I can put those in their box if you'd
Okay,
like.
good, thank you.
Motion to adjourn.
I have a motion to adjourn. We're adjourned.